All right, let me see how this plays out. So last year, I have talked about how NewJeans fandom, Bunnies, uses an online community called DC Inside, specifically NewJeans Gallery, to manipulate public opinions. And let me play this video from last year to show you an example. Total attack and support. Okay. So this is what the gallery looks like. And if you go over this menu tab, now it changed to just support, simple support. And this is where the users ask for support from the fellow users. What does that mean? They post articles or video links, whatever, right? And it says help needed. For example, this one says 네이트판 부탁해, and they use abbreviations for specific online communities to target. This is 네이트판, right? But instead they use the abbreviation 니은 이응 티읕 피읕, right? And support needed.
Too much details.
And then link is provided, and then what do? They go to this link, click this link, and then write comments favorable for NewJeans, or rather Min Hee-jin, and downvote whatever comments are written that are against NewJeans or Min Hee-jin, right? So that's called the operation, right? 총공 지원, support operation.
Okay, I think that's enough. And quick, another.
Then if you go to these articles,
example.
Yep. The top comments criticize 방 PD, 방시혁, right?
Okay.
There we go.
So that's an example. And in fact, recently, one of K-pop contents related YouTubers have talked about this. So let me quickly go through what he said. He begins this particular video called 3 Reasons Why I Quit NewJeans. His name is Influ K-pop Culture. He said, I used to be a big fan of NewJeans, not just the group, but specifically Minji, Heejin, and their music. But I have recently stepped away from the fandom. Let me explain the 3 reasons why. First, the manipulation, I'm only going to talk about the first part because he says, first, the manipulation of public opinion by some fans. If you go on a site called DC Inside, there's a NewJeans Gallery. I saw firsthand how people there would post links to articles or YouTube videos that contained even the slightest criticism of NewJeans, asking others to go leave supportive comments. In other words, some fans were organizing mass comment campaigns to sway public perception, something they call coordinate attacks. 좌표찍기. In these coordinated comment sections, there were tons of replies accusing others of being paid by HYBE. You know exactly what he's talking about, right? Calling them part-time workers, 알바. There were also tons of comments cheering on NewJeans or bashing HYBE. Some fans even suggested they proactively leave positive comments, so-called 선플, on YouTube or articles for NewJeans, but for some reason, many of those posts have since been deleted. Still, you can find plenty of traces of those coordinated comment campaigns all over the place. Now, what this YouTuber did not mention is a fact that within the NewJeans Gallery, there were not only attempts to support NewJeans or leave positive comments, supportive comments for NewJeans, or leaving critical or comments that attack HYBE or HYBE-related personnel, but also tons of attempts to support and in fact protect their 대표님, none other than Min Hee-jin. And what you're looking at right now is thousands of posts written by a specific user called Min Hee-jin that could be interpreted as protector of Min, sharing links to various articles, YouTube videos to manipulate public perception, just like how I explained in this video and how this YouTuber explained. But again, that the purpose of the NewJeans Gallery, especially that section called Coordinate comment section, was to not only protect NewJeans, but also protect Min Hee-jin and attack HYBE. Now, this list is endless.
This guy has like disappeared all of a sudden at some point. I think last year or this year, but like he or she, they worked overtime, 24 hours, 24/7. Yeah, endless list. And what you're looking at all happened on the same date. Oh my goodness, September 25th. So there we go. Now, the point of this video that you're watching is that I have come across some article and that suggests that Naver, the platform where a lot of news media articles are posted, is doing something in a way that perhaps in the future, NewJeans Fandom or Bunnies or NewJeans Gallery would not be able to manipulate public perception like this. So let me read this article for you. Actually, maybe it's better to play this video. All right. So the title of the article is Naver CEO apologizes over far-right comment manipulation scandal. We take this very seriously. Naver CEO Choi Soo-yeon apologizes. We will take action against abnormal activity and maintain close communication with media outlets. Naver CEO Choi Soo-yeon issued a formal apology following reports that pro-Yoon Suk-yeol, the former president of Korea, pro-Yoon Suk-yeol groups had been operating organized comment squads to manipulate Naver's comment sections. Speaking at the National Assembly's Science, ICT, Broadcasting, and Communications Committee meeting on the 18th April, Choi responded to a question from Democratic Party lawmaker Hwang, who pointed out far-right YouTubers are directing people to specific news articles and instructing them to flood the comments to manipulate public opinion. And let me play this video to hear what she said, even though many of you would not be able to understand Korean, but just for context.
다만 말씀 주신 대로 좌표를 지정을 하고 공감수를 이렇게 급증하는 문제들에 대해서는 저희가 인지를 하고 있고 미리 기술적으로 저희가 조치하지 못하는 점에 대해서 굉장히 심려하게 생각하고 있습니다. 그래서 오늘 그 4월 28일 제가 정확한 날짜는 제출하겠습니다. 이렇게 공감을 좀 비정상적으로 늘리는 활동에 대해서는 저희가 이 언론 그 댓글을 운영하는 언론사들에게 해당 내용을 즉시 알리고 또 이용자들도 즉시 알 수 있는 그런 기술적인 조치는 즉시 마련하였습니다.
So Choi, the CEO of Naver, said, for abnormal activity aimed at artificially increasing likes, we have implemented technical measures to immediately notify the media outlets managing the comment sections, and users are also able to see these alerts right away. When Representative Hwang, a politician, expressed concern about how such manipulation could potentially disrupt the upcoming presidential election and urged for stronger countermeasures, Choi responded, when we detect a sudden spike in traffic that seems abnormal, we will immediately notify the outlet managing the comment section and display a notice for users to see. That system will be implemented soon. Now, at the end of this video, we'll briefly ramble on to discuss whether this will be effective or not. She added, it's difficult for us to determine in real time whether a response is manipulated or not. By default, comments are arranged in chronological order, but if a media outlet believes sorting by popularity is more appropriate, they can change the setting. We will continue to work closely with media outlets on this. Now, you might question, why is this CEO all of a sudden, being summoned to this committee meeting? It's because there was this news article, this is from Oh My News. One of my Korean subscribers has pointed out this is left-leaning news media. So I just wanted to provide that as a context. But since that committee chairman is led by, DP, I think the chairman is part of the Democratic Party. It makes sense that they're finding out about what's going on behind pro-Yoon or far-right group. So let me briefly translate this article, just a specific section. Okay. A far-right extremist group supporting President Yoon Suk-yeol, who is currently under investigation as a main suspect in a rebellion case, has been found running group chats to wage public opinion campaigns on Naver News. They promote pro-Yoon comments and downvote those critical of him or supportive of the Democratic Party. According to an Oh My News report on the 9th, a group called New Male Solidarity, which supports President Yoon, has been operating a Telegram group chat named Man Solidarity Opinion Cleanup Room, Cheonghwa, since January. The group's admin shares articles related to Yoon and directs members to dislike comments that criticize him and like comments that support him. That sounds exactly like what NewJeans fandom did. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Because Naver's comment section ranks replies based on the number of likes, this manipulation pushes pro-Yoon comments to the top. In the group chat, they refer to this as cleaning up. Once again, Cheonghwa, cleaning up the comments. Once the process is done on a particular article, members label it as cleanup complete. In the articles that were shared and targeted in the chat, the comment sections were consistently filled with pro-Yoon and anti-Democratic Party remarks. Now, as one of my Korean subscribers has pointed out, such public manipulation is also done by Democratic Party, so I'm just gonna throw it out there for your reference for a disclaimer. But let's move on, because what's important in this video is the similarity between what we just read about and the NewJeans fandom's behavior since last year. Now, what you're looking at right now is a blog post written by a blogger who has consistently provided updates on the Min Hee-jin NewJeans cases until the end of last year. He has said this about the NewJeans Gallery. It's important to highlight just how wide-ranging this manipulation is. It's not limited to small, obscure online spaces. It's happening everywhere. From massive communities like FM Korea to Nate Pan, article comment sections, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. They're leaving coordinates all over the internet, directing people where to go and what to upvote or downvote. The scale is insane. Posts organizing these efforts often rack up 5,000 plus views, and it looks like there are at least a few hundred people involved at any given moment. What's especially malicious is that after they finish manipulating public opinion, they delete the post, erasing the trail. Like I said in the video, maybe I said it, maybe I didn't, they include the links to the articles or YouTube videos in the comment sections of the post written in the NewJeans Gallery so that it's not searchable, right? That's what this blogger kind of referred to. Communities like FM Korea or Nate Pan, before that, I think this blog post was written around October, yeah, based on the screenshot. Communities like FM Korea or Nate Pan are particularly vulnerable when just 100 people can swing sentiment. It's no surprise those sites were taken over early, meaning taken over by NewJeans fans or Bunnies or Min Hee-jin supporters. Now, they're basically under real-time control. It's gotten to the point where searching NewJeans or Min Hee-jin automatically triggers a flood of downvotes on any critical posts, even if they were written long ago. Now, before I move on, let me point out once again that at the time that was true, but ever since, especially after the Hani national audit situation, and after the injunction, after NewJeans lost the injunction, and after they had that very shocking interview with Times and BBC, the public has turned really against NewJeans. So situation is a little bit different today, but let me read on. Shockingly, NewJeans fans call this cleaning up. Ooh, sounds exactly like what these pro-Yoon or far-right group did. They say they're cleaning up the internet by suppressing negative posts about NewJeans or Min Hee-jin. But even if those negative posts are telling the truth, they still try to wipe them out. How is that not just silencing people? the blogger questions. They talk about positive comments or 선풀, but when you check the comments at those targeted sites, it's often downright disgusting. Sure, criticize HYBE and Bang Seo all you want. I actually agree that the root of the situation is Bang putting too much faith in Min Hee-jin. I think that's debatable. But yeah. So I mean, you can debate all you want with this blogger, but he's trying to, setting the tone, right? But so I'm fine criticizing him. But what do you even call it when they mix in vulgar sexually harassing comments about the Seraphim and Islet, and then mass upvote those comments like it's a sport? Is that what they call positive? Right? So his questioning, okay, attacking HYBE, attacking Bang Seo, fair enough. Although I don't think he's necessarily supporting that either. But what he's saying is that, but writing harsh comments, attacking the Seraphim and Islet, and often sexually harassing them, and then mass upvoting those comments, that's messed up, right? And how would they even call that 선풀 or positive or supportive comments? That's the point of what this blogger is saying. What they are doing, this blogger says, clearly coordinated, targeted comments, spam, and malicious engagement is textbook reverse viral marketing. It's manipulative and potentially criminal. And it didn't start with the NewJeans Gallery either. A fan-run YouTube channel called NewJeans Pum, one of the more prominent NewJeans fans accounts, was actually the first to do it. At this point, the fandom as a whole is starting to look indistinguishable from professional trolls. What makes the NewJeans Gallery even more repulsive to me is that they stir all this up, spam hate comments on videos about the Seraphim and Islet, and then turn around and claim the public is on NewJeans and Min Hee-jin's side. They're not just manipulating opinion. They have built a full-on delusion where they label anyone critical as a hater and insist the people support them. Let's be real. If the public truly sided with NewJeans and Min Hee-jin, there would be no need to organize hundreds or even thousands of fans to swarm comment sections. No reason to delete evidence after the fact. No reason to repost and coordinate again every time the initial wave falls flat. Like this. And now, with criticism growing louder, they're recruiting new members into these manipulation group chats out in the open. They're not even hiding it anymore. What sets them apart from past manipulators like King is that while King shut everything down when exposed, Min Hee-jin's fans are even bolder. They have 10 times the manpower, and instead of operating in private group chats, they organize everything publicly on fan galleries like the NewJeans Gallery. They don't care about being called out. They just keep going as if nothing's wrong. Because of this, NewJeans and Min Hee-jin are practically untouchable in many online communities now. The moment someone posts even the slightest bit of criticism, it gets buried in downvotes and spammed with hate. And they do it proudly. It's this whole, yeah, we did it, so what attitude. Seems like that's the new national mood these days. So yeah, this post was very critical of NewJeans Gallery, the Bunnies, and Min Hee-jin. Now, like I said, the public has turned against NewJeans, especially after the so-called Honey National Audit issue, right? I think at this point, I don't need to explain again what this audit was about. But the thing is, it was actually these politicians who made such audit possible. The very politicians who are criticizing the CEO of Naver of, basically saying, are you aware of all this public manipulation going on within your platform? But in fact, part of me believes that these very politicians were tricked by NewJeans fans. And they were manipulated by the public opinion manipulation. the so-called 좌표찍기, coordinated comments attack. And in fact, there was this article written in October of 2024 explaining how NewJeans fans sent fax bombs, facsimile bombs to lawmakers, urging them to summon HYBE executives for National Assembly hearing. I have talked about this issue last year, but let me briefly talk about this again. Fans of NewJeans have reportedly sent a flood of faxes to lawmakers on the National Assembly's Culture, Sports, and Tourism Committee, demanding that HYBE executives, including Chairman Bang Si-yeon, be listed as witnesses for the upcoming parliamentary audit. Since NewJeans revealed on March 11th that they had experienced internal bullying within HYBE, fans have been urging the committee to investigate not March. 지난달 11일, so September 11th, during that guerrilla live stream. Since NewJeans revealed on September 11th that they had experienced internal bullying within HYBE, fans have been urging the committee to investigate what they described as HYBE's attempt to destroy NewJeans. As the audit approaches, the pressure campaign appears to be ramping up. According to multiple sources in the National Assembly on April 2nd, both ruling and opposition lawmakers on the Culture Committee have been receiving faxes by the second, every second, all requesting that HYBE leadership be summoned to testify. A staff member from a ruling party lawmaker's office said, "We have received over 400 faxes. We ran out of paper, so we're even using scrap paper now, and we're checking each page manually to sort them." The faxes urge that the management conflict between HYBE and former Adore CEO Min Hee-jin has spiraled out of control and call for figures like Bang Si-yeon, CEO Park Ji-won, and CCO Park Tae-hee to be summoned as witnesses. CEO Lee Jae-sang, in fact. On online communities, messages titled Fax Blitz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. circulated that afternoon, along with a list of fax numbers for lawmakers on the Culture Committee. And what you're looking at right now is that post uploaded on the NewJeans Gallery at the time, talking about their plan, the fax blitz against the Culture Committee, and sharing the step-by-step guideline how to download files from Google Drive and use facsimiles to send documents to those politicians. And here's a list of facsimile numbers for each member of the committee. And they did that. So even though I'm very critical of these politicians who made this embarrassing national audit possible, to be fair, they were like victims of public manipulation waged by the NewJeans fans. We can say that to defend them, sort of. So, but at the same time, they need to check what's really going on under the surface, right? Behind the scenes, what's really happening within the NewJeans Gallery. Because I'm pretty sure what these politicians thought was that, it seems like the entire general public in Korea is supporting NewJeans. Why not just summon Honey to national audit so we can win public support as well? But in fact, when that happened, the public was enraged. And once again, I don't think I need to talk about this one more time, why the general public in Korea was enraged by the fact that they allowed NewJeans Honey to speak at the national audits. Someone who made over 5 billion Korean won a year, right? And since then, the comment section, and interestingly enough, until that point, NewJeans was discussed among celebrity section, like K-pop or cultural section. But since then, NewJeans started to be discussed within politics section for news media articles. And within that space, they can be really harsh on you, and they don't care what group you are part of. And and since then, the public has turned dramatically against NewJeans. Now, another interesting part of the recent Naver CEO committee talk was this. Representative Choi added, according to developers of large language models, there's a lot of redundancy in news articles, which leads to unnecessary resource consumption. In contrast, news content from outlets with a long-standing tradition, hundreds of journalists, proper fact-checking, and editorial oversight will hold more value. But when I read this, it reminded me of what happened with the so-called 푸른 산호초, Blue Lagoon media play that Min Hee-jin waged when she was still CEO of Adore. You know, NewJeans Honey, when NewJeans performed in Japan, she did a cover of a famous song in Japan called 푸른 산호초, Blue Lagoon. And there were like literally hundreds of articles being written about it in Korea, talking about how amazing the performance was. But the thing is, this part that I just read about from this article says that maybe it will be more trustworthy if we give more weight to those, traditional or mainstream media outlets. But these articles talking about the same thing, how amazing the Blue Lagoon was, some of them were written by traditional mainstream media outlets. But they were still susceptible to, whatever strategies or tactics that Min Hee-jin had for the sake of public manipulation. Now, I might make a separate video about this case because it's very interesting and somewhat embarrassing, just like the national audit case, because here's a YouTuber who makes contents about Japanese related stuff while living in Japan. A lot of NewJeans fans at the time, asked them, the YouTuber, to cover the issue, Blue Lagoon, to encourage him to also join in this media to talk about how amazing and how loved Honey and her performance was at the time in Japan. But they said outright, to be honest, it didn't become an issue in Japan. It wasn't that talked about. And that was actually the case, which explains how NewJeans was only able to sell less than 50,000 copies for their Japanese album in the country. But the Korean media produced hundreds of similar articles to talk about, to persuade the public into believing that NewJeans and Honey, and especially her cover project, was loved, showered with love in Japan, when actually that wasn't the case. But yeah, this part kind of reminded me of that. And once again, to sort of be fair towards these politicians, maybe they were tricked by these public manipulation tactics waged by Min Hee-jin. Maybe they truly believed that the entire GP supports NewJeans, when in fact, this very national audit became a turning point for the GP to turn against NewJeans. All right, let me go back to what the CEO of Naver said. So she said this: for abnormal activity aimed at artificially increasing likes, we have implemented technical measures to immediately notify the media outlets managing the comment sections, and users are also able to see these alerts right away. She added, it's difficult for us to determine in real time whether a response is manipulated or not. By default, comments are arranged in chronological order, but if a media outlet believes sorting by popularity is more appropriate, they can change the setting. We will continue to work closely with media outlets on this. I'm not sure if this will actually have any real effect and prevent NewJeans fans or fans like Bunnies from doing this all over again. They're still doing it, but at the very least, I believe that we need to acknowledge, and they need to acknowledge, that this is actually happening. Not only in the political domain, but also in the cultural domain as well. And to the politicians, regardless of their party affiliation, I genuinely hope that they take the time to understand what's really going on, especially when it comes to serious matters like a parliamentary audit. Like, they need to think carefully about who's been manipulated by media spin and coordinated comment, brigades or blitz. And let me say this again. I've talked about this before. Honey's ignore her audit, which was one of the most absurd National Assembly hearings in history, Korean history, was a moment of rare bipartisan agreements. Both the ruling party and opposition parties were completely on board, even though it was made possible because of this guy, the head of the committee, who is part of DP. But yeah, they were all like complimenting and praising, trying to, comfort Honey and harshly attack the CEO of Adore, Kim Joo-young, and HYBE. So, yeah, I'm not going to forget this incident for a very long time. Let me end by talking about this. 4 reasons the Bunnies fandom became so unlikable. This is from Blind, which is a online community where you can write contents while being affiliated to your own company that employs you, right? So it's like a Korean version of Glassdoor. All right, 4 reasons the Bunnies fandom became so unlikable. Written on October 24th. The louder the Bunnies fandom gets, Team Bunnies, Asiana, Hanwha, Famdoyle, NewJeans Gallery, and others. I guess there are also famous bunnies who are doing trolls like behaviors. The faster NewJeans seems to be spiraling. All right, the louder the Bunnies fandom gets, the faster NewJeans seems to be spiraling. It's no surprise they have dropped off the brand reputation rankings entirely. Min Hee-jin and the fandom together have turned NewJeans into political idol mired in controversy. Here are 4 reasons why Team Bunnies, Min Hee-jin's fandom became so off-putting. And notice how this post was written after the national audit. In every situation, they claim the other side is always at fault, and they're always the victim. 2. They justify everything they do under the label of defending victims. From mass coordinated comment raids, rigging comment rankings, throwing around harsh insults, accusing others of plagiarism, emotional manipulation, to fake sales numbers, everything they do is considered righteous in their eyes. 3. They mock other artists without hesitation. They don't even seem to care about actually supporting NewJeans. They're focused solely on getting Min Hee-jin reinstated as CEO and protecting her 100 billion won put option. 4. They show zero sense of solidarity or basic decency. They'll do anything to achieve their goals, flooding political offices, the courts, and even government agencies with attacks. They have even weaponized unverified tragedies like rumors of a HYBE employee's death as tools for their campaign. In the end, it's a textbook case of hypocrisy and moral decay. To the fans who once truly cared, listen to their warnings. If you keep acting in ways that reflect your own toxic mindsets, you're not defending NewJeans. You're erasing them. Just stop, stay silent, and let the law do its job. But it seems like NewJeans or their fandom did not really listen to such advice. Let me go back to this YouTuber who said this at the end of his video. If you truly like NewJeans, I think being able to point out when they have done something wrong and helping guide them in the right direction, that's what being a real fan is. But right now, some of the remaining fans only believe what the members or Min Hee-jin say, treating it almost like a religion. They blindly defend them and label anyone with a different opinion as strange or wrong. It really makes me wonder, are they doing this out of genuine support for NewJeans, or are they actually supporting someone else? Or maybe, are they just doing it for their own entertainment? I honestly don't know anymore. Well, we might be able to figure out the answer to the question, but we might not. And although this guy posted this content 3 weeks ago. This has been going on for a while, for several months since last year. Although it seems like they're losing a lot of power lately. So, one more thing, last but not least, back to this Naver CEO's comment. Do you think this plan works? Do you think their initiatives will prevent such manipulation from happening ever again? I kind of doubt it, because the countermeasures that she talked about didn't sound that effective, like sending alerts to the users and the media agencies. But what if the media agencies themselves, are in the same camp as those who try to manipulate public opinion? Then I guess that such alert system is no use. So let me know your opinions. And I'm kind of cautious about how this video turns out, especially in Korean, because it kind of touches upon the politics. As I have noted, one of my Korean subscribers already said that how this article reporting on this case, Naver CEO case, is like left leaning, and they said that public manipulation is not only done by far right but also far left, and it could get really messy in Korea if you talk about politics. Sometimes it's super difficult to have reasonable politics related discussions online. I'm pretty sure that's the case all over the world, including the States right now. Which is why I just want to end with this quote by BTS RM. We're not political figures, but as I say, everything is political eventually. Even a pebble can be political. What a great quote. Alright, so as always, let's stay positive, respectful, and classy when we leave comments and discuss with each other. Okay? Thank you. Peace and love. Bye-bye.